Hello and welcome back to another session with Carl and myself. I am Concepta, an author and life coach. And today we're going to discuss communications with ourselves, the shitty committee, as I call it. And I'm going to turn it right over to Carl.
Thanks, Concepta. It's very interesting. I've had the opportunity on a couple of occasions to sit in on seminars with Tony Robbins. And Tony's very clear about the fact that the quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your communications. And he pauses for a bit. You have to understand there's two communications. There's the one that Concepta and I have and enjoy on a regular basis, but the more important communication is the one you have with yourself. And that communication is the key to a good life. We have the opportunity on a regular basis to encourage ourselves or discourage ourselves. And that is the key. You spill a glass of milk, you can say something like, "You dummy." And you say that enough, and your subconscious believes that you're a dummy.
Or it's said to you once when you were five,
Exactly.
and then you're saying it to yourself for the next 30, 40 years. Yeah, it's amazing.
Whatever happens, and what we need to do is reprogram our brain. And technically, that discipline is called neurolinguistics programming, NLP for short. Neuro, brain, linguistics, talking, and programming, so that you program yourself to be positive and encourage yourself on a regular basis. And ultimately, this is where the power is. We've all grown up in homes that have a certain type of communication
Or lack of.
and or lack of, but hopefully that was for the most part encouraging us to be better, to be equipped to handle life and things like that. Or we always had parents, unfortunately, that were putting us down and saying you can't do that and this and that. And we have to live with that until the point that we have that aha moment
Mm.
where we can then say, I can change this. Speaking of change, we all have that ability. Most of us don't believe that we do. We believe that we're already programmed, that there's no way to change that. But there absolutely is a way to change it. Concepta changed her life. I changed my life, and it has come out so much better when you figure that out and realize that you can do that.
The thing is, it comes so natural to us today. Like if I was listening to us and I was stuck back in the belief of like, I can't change how I think, it's just the way I am. There was a time I believed that. I remember years ago when I first got sober, there was a guy that I used to talk to all the time, and he would literally say to me, "Stop thinking. Just stop thinking." I mean, I thought he was like insane. Now, I still don't stop thinking, but I certainly have learned how to bring more supportive thoughts in. But how do you think you would start to explain to someone that thinks they're different? This is not me, because I was one of those people.
Right. So just like any change in our life, we have to maybe see an example of it, and then we say, gee, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can figure that out. And, if you want to put on your right shoe first and then your left shoe, and you say, gee, I'm going to change, I'm going to put my left shoe on all the time. Now, this comes from the habits that we've all learned over time and the way our lives work. And we need to understand, first and foremost, we cannot change a habit. We can overlay a new habit on top of it. And if we focus on the new habit, then that habit sticks. Now, you want to try it for yourself. Take the wastebasket that's in the corner of the kitchen, move it to the other corner. And for at least 30 days, you
You'll
are
be
going to
still
go to
going to
where
the
it
old
was.
basket.
Again, my understanding is minimum of 30 days to overlay a new habit on a different habit. So you really have to be into it. Whoops. There's my phone going off. Sorry about that. Axel F theme. It really takes that kind of focus. And so, you focus on it once or twice, it's not going to be good enough. It has to be a long-term change. They don't happen easy, they don't happen overnight. Again, most of what we've learned, we're at that place. We don't really understand how long it took us to get where we are. Now we've got to figure out and have the mental discipline to focus on where we want to be. I know I told you the story, Concepta, but for me, after seeing Tony Robbins, I decided I was going to take control of my brain. And there's one habit that each of us have that we do every single day. 5, 8, 10, 15 people a day walk up to you and say, "How are you doing?"
Mm,
And we all have a standard greeting. "I'm great, I'm good, whatever." I changed it to the word unbelievable. And
mm.
I had to focus on 100% of the time when asked that question, saying unbelievable. And a lot happened when I started doing that. First of all, when I
How many
said it,
how many people did you annoy?
well, that's over time, Concepta. But in the beginning, it was more like, oh, well, he's just said unbelievable. But when you get into doing it consistently, they have different reactions.
Mm,
For me, when I said it, it gave me a chance to think for a moment about it and reinforce why I was doing it. The other thing it started to do is open up a conversation with somebody else who was saying, "What do you mean unbelievable?" And then I could have the conversation with them about why I'm doing it and further cement it in my brain, but hopefully help somebody else out at the same time by talking about why I was involved in this.
mm. Were they receptive of that, do you think?
Very much so. I mean, it again, it takes people back. It's a different type of greeting, but when they understood why, they were for it. But then after 3 years of doing it consistently, some people got a little, come on.
Mm,
And after 3 years' time, obviously it had set in and I had taken over control, and I don't do that as much anymore. I still do it for effect on a number of occasions, and it does. It still takes people back when I do it. But from my brain standpoint, I don't need that example popping up every day because, you probably have never totally arrived at anything, but I'm currently in that place where I feel pretty good about my control of my brain.
isn't that wonderful? The
Yeah.
one of the lines that I often say to people, how cashiers at a register, it's like, have a nice day. And you could probably respond any way you wanted. They wouldn't even hear it because they're so patterned into that. But my response is always, that's my plan. Then I just walk away. Because that is my plan. Every
And
single day I wake up. To me, it's a brand new day. Like my partner will wake up and tell me when he's feeling better how he felt really sick yesterday if he was sick. I'm like, why do you even want to bring yesterday into it? And we just start laughing. I'm like, you're feeling better, right? Stay in that.
yeah, we can never rewrite history. It once was explained to me this way that, the past is like a canceled check.
Hmm. We can rewrite the imprints that it makes, which is going to be something that I'd love to discuss at another session. Like the
Yeah, that's changing the habits. Yeah,
yes,
that's
yeah,
changing the habits. But tomorrow is a promissory note. Only today is legal tender.
yeah.
And so we have to spend today wisely and make sure that we get focused on the right things that empower us to move forward so that we can move into tomorrow with the attitude we need to have. Um, I, I wore this cap for a couple of different reasons, but you may be able to see this on the brim. It's a little pin. Where is
I
it? There
see
it
the
is.
pen, but I can't see what it says. And now it's getting
So,
blurred.
yeah,
You can
yeah. So it says attitude.
ah, attitude or
And
attitude.
and it's a golden attitude technically, and so that's on all of my Scully caps, and kind of a reminder to myself, but I don't really need it anymore. I do it more for the people that look at it and say, what's that all about? And then it gives me that opportunity to explain why I'm doing it.
How long have you been on this new path, so to speak?
So it was 96 when I got started on the road. So, for me, it's been, what's that, 30 years?
Wow. And what made you start on the road?
Well, it came out of, in my lifetime, I had achieved some things and I felt pretty good about the achievements, but I wasn't technically really confident in myself.
Mm,
And it was more that lack of confidence that drove me a little bit to getting control of what's going on so that I could respond in situations and not react in situations
mm.
from more a place of understanding than lack of knowledge.
That, I know we touched on that last time about reaction versus response, and there is so much power in that. Want to give another example of that? I know we talked about traffic, which I think is easier because it's just you. But when you
You're
think
right.
when you think about another human with you, and that can be
So,
a little different.
yeah, that can happen, of course, in conversation, but in the traffic scenario, we're talking Boston drivers, that whole world, there are people that cut you off all the time. And most people will have an emotional reaction to that
Mm,
instead of understanding that I wasn't in that car, I didn't control that person did whatever they wanted to in that moment.
yeah.
It's my response to that that I have control over. And most people just react. It's the Boston wave, it's that kind of stuff. And
I tell myself that their mother might be in the hospital and they're on the way to see them. That's what I used to literally tell myself when I initially wasn't exactly pleasant about it. And then after a while, it's like, you know what? They're just in a hurry. Or they'll fly by you to get to a red light in front of you. It's like, or they'll beep the horn at you. I had a guy one time a few weeks ago. I probably did cut him off, or I came out around the same time, and he literally drove beside me for at least a mile with his hand pressed in the horn, trying to get
yeah,
me to, and I literally just kept looking straight ahead. And I felt like I knew he was getting more angry because I wasn't responding. But it was so
but
ridiculous. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It wasn't even that I came close to an accident or he did. And to this day, I have no idea or care what was going on
But
between his ears.
you think about what's going through his brain, how negative his day must be to have that kind of response to a situation, or I would probably characterize it as a reaction to a situation, because generally when you take a moment to respond, you control your brain, you get into a place where you can say, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, no one hit anyone. No one was hurt. They cut me off. I saw him, put my foot in the, whatever the case may be. But yet, I just think a lot of people wake up the very opposite of us. They wake up waiting and wanting to
Yeah.
react. I
Yeah,
think
as
of them.
Yeah, I remember this is going back to like 1972, seeing a motivational speaker, Cavett Roberts, and he characterized people like that as having been weaned on a pickle. They're just sour people.
Yeah. Also, I think the other thing is one of the things I've done with people that I've worked with. I always call the brain like a shitty committee or the board members. And I've even gone as far as done it is printed out a brain with different chairs of people sitting to help people understand the different aspects of themselves, the critic, the ego, the judgmental person, the all of the rest. Because a lot of people are not integrated. They think
Right.
they don't have the thought, they think they can't react or respond, so they're reacting instead. And I find it fascinating to have people see themselves. Because I notice a lot of people will be thinking that someone else is judging them, but it's actually their own thoughts and they're projecting. It's like projection identification, it'd be called in
Yep,
the
very much
therapy
so. Yeah.
world. But it's like I always love to hold up a mirror in front of someone.
In that same thought, when it comes to interpersonal relationships, the killer of interpersonal relationships is a word called expectations.
Mm,
And what happens with expectation, now you and I are good friends, but I don't believe we have any expectations of each other.
correct. Other than to
And
show up when we say we do. And
yeah, right,
I
right.
want
But
to
if I
add,
had
I
yeah,
want to throw in one thought before I forget it, but I've learned
yeah,
a long time ago, unmet expectations are resentments turned upside down. And that's why
yep,
I don't have any for others for the most part.
right. So if I expect Concepta to do something and she doesn't do it, I get angry.
Mm,
Who had the expectation?
you.
Me. It was me.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, I upset myself technically
Yep. So it's a
in that
resentment.
scenario.
It's a resentment waiting to happen.
Yeah, and so we have to get control of our thought process so that we can have a great day every day.
Mm. It sounds so simple, and I think it is,
Well,
but
it,
many
it
people will complicate
but here's the deal. I went through a couple years of hard work. You went through a couple years of hard work. It's not like it just happens.
it.
It has to be that conscious thought that we're working on a regular basis so that we can gain control of our thoughts.
Yeah. And it's like I have often said to people, they're like, well, what do you mean I have control over my thoughts? And I'm like, well, if you don't, who does? And that's when they're like kind of stunted. Is it the
Yeah,
guy that, that's driving the car in front of you or the one behind you? Is it your mother who's 6 foot under? Is it your father who's in another I mean, but people don't realize it. And they have to like second guess what I even just said. I love
yeah,
this knowing, and I love more so being able to apply it. It's easy to
yeah.
apply it to the day-to-day stuff, but the challenging part sometimes, a lot of times when you're around your family of origin, not everyone has the Brady Bunch family. And it is very, very cool I remember the first time after I had quite a few years of therapy and I went back home to Ireland and I started like quietly diagnosing everyone I met what they need. Now, none of them wanted what I had, so they didn't have that same need. But I remember like going from me learning it to I want everyone to know this. But the thing is, everyone doesn't want to know it.
No, no. They tend to like the fact that they can blame somebody
Be
else.
a victim, stay in victim.
Right. That's why, and I'll probably do this every time we get together, Concepta, but the 10 two-letter words is always key in my life. If it is to be, it is up to me.
Mm,
Take 100% responsibility. Don't give it away to anybody else. Keep it, take it, and believe that you have that degree of control in your life.
mm. And I can hear so many people say, yeah, but, yeah, but.
And the but is pretty simple. It's years and years of some sort of information that happened in their life where they've been led to believe that they don't have control.
Yeah, yeah. And there are a lot of people a lot is taken from them in childhood, whether it's from abuse or whatnot. And a lot of them, like myself, will turn to alcohol and oops, sorry, gotta turn the timer off. Um, And then, at the age of 22, it was like I started living for the first time. And then I had to learn all of this stuff. I had to unlearn everything I learned and then learn like a whole new way of life. But I would not change a single day for what I feel inside today.
Right. And honestly, Concepta, I would think the word unlearn is technically wrong. It's about enlightening yourself from what you had in the past and knowing that you want to change it. Understanding the past can be very good. It can be very powerful as long as it doesn't control you.
Yeah, but for me, I did have to change a lot of my thoughts towards it. Otherwise, I would stay in resentment.
Right. Bury those old habits.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
like we're saying the
be
same thing. I think we use
right.
different words, which I love about the English language. The same word can have several different meanings.
Well, the most fun here, Concept, is that you and I came to this kind of totally different.
Very totally different.
And so, we have two perspectives here that arrived at pretty much the same place, but the paths were not the same.
I know. That's what I love about it. And you're probably the only one I've actually connected with that I've done this kind of work with who didn't have the trauma that most people do. And that's so refreshing for so many people that would compare, well, I didn't go through that, I didn't. And it's really about identifying, not comparing. So
Right. It
I'm
it, it
hoping that this podcast will reach many, many people. And if anyone is interested in what we're saying, I would love if you would like and share. We've been putting it on Instagram and Facebook and wherever else it can end up. And we're trying to keep the sessions a little shorter. So I figure we got another minute or two and we'll wrap it up.
yeah, I mean, it's is good short because that will stimulate the conversation. I mean, we've got a long way to go with these, and we'll start talking about food. But one of the most interesting ones was a Harvard professor. Now, it was an hour-long video, but it was exciting enough to me to hang in there for an hour about he is changing an awful lot of mental illness, anxiety, schizophrenia, just by changing the diet and getting the brain right in terms of its thought process. Most American just do not eat correctly, and there's a huge challenge there. But his point was very interesting in that maybe a lot of this can be done just with a diet. I mean, I think I mentioned to you in the early 1900s, they used to cure, if you can cure anything, cure epilepsy with a ketogenic diet.
Wow.
And then they came up with pills, of course, and we went down that pharmaceutical road.
Mm.
But it's very interesting that there are many different ways to approach this and help out and become better at what we're doing in life, understanding that we do have control of the brain.
Yeah, or I like to say to people, prove me wrong. Try the new diet and right action produces right thinking. That's the other thing. A lot of people are waiting until, like, if I was to wait until I feel like going to the gym, I'd never probably go to the gym. I usually just get in the car, go there, get my body there, and then halfway through, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I'm here. And then I love when I'm done. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
about right action, producing right thinking, and whether that's about, you're learning about food and how it impacts you. I'm looking forward to what I have to learn. He's so good for anyone that's watching. He will not eat any carbs. He won't have any dessert. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, give me one piece of bread. And I've tried the no sugar thing. I'm like, well, it's my last addiction. I need, and yeah, I'm hoping to get there because I love the idea of that clean living. Really, like I feel that I'm living a clean life in so many ways. My thoughts are clean. I'm living a beautiful life with Steve mentally, but yet I'm feeding my body sometimes with food that I know is not good. So maybe you'll rub off me.
Who knows? Who knows? I down at the shop, they call me a little bit the zealot. But I've helped at least half a dozen people now change their lives, get off their medications, put things right with their body. And I have enough research. I'm not a doctor. Don't put me in that category, but done enough research to know it's the way to go.
Yeah, and I find a lot of doctors don't get educated in diet. I
Now,
remember, I'll end with this, but I remember it was a couple of years ago. It was in the winter time. I had made like homemade soup with every vegetable you can imagine because I like some vegetables, and I pureed it just like the Irish soup. And I think I was eating it twice a day because it was so good. I'd freeze it and I'd have it. So I went and had my regular checkup, and my potassium was pretty high. And I was like, I'm not sure what that. So they just said, well, you know what? Come back next week and we'll try it again. I kept eating the soup. I went back next
yeah,
week. It was higher. Then they wanted to send me into Boston for some deep-rooted like kidney x-ray or something. And I'm like, you know what? Just give me some time. I literally went home and I wrote into chat or wherever I talked to what foods have a lot of potassium. Every single freaking vegetable that I had in my pot and salt, of course,
Yeah.
I was consuming. I literally
Yeah.
went back a week later, did not have, I deliberately cut out salt. I only put it on eggs anyway, but it was in the soup. I didn't have any soup. I went back, it was normal.
Yeah.
I could have gone on, spent insurance money, my money, time, getting unnecessary x-rays, you name it. And
Yeah.
I was blown away with like that they did not say to me, "What are you eating?" No one.
Yeah.
So we don't need to be doctors to know about our food intake.
No, and that's the challenge is that they just don't ask about what you're eating. And bottom line, they technically don't want to cure you. They just want to deal with the situation and put you on pharmaceuticals. I mean, I could spend hours talking about this stuff. It's
But
crazy.
we have hours to spend together because it's going to be an amazing long year and we're going to get together at least once a week. But till
Yep.
next time, I want to say goodbye and thank you, Carl, for another great session.
Concepta, yes, it went by very quickly. I'm glad we're keeping it short. Now I get to go and win money at a card game.
I'm going to go find the owls. Bye bye.
We'll feed our souls.